So you made it. It's Friday. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. You're watching the 9 at Night. I'm Stephania Jimenez. Tonight, a teenager is accused of shooting into a home in Converse because of a fight with the man who lives there. And now 18-year-old Matthew Connor Sauceda is charged with a felony. According to the arrest affidavit, Sauceda fired 6 shots into the victim's home and car on January 23rd. And when investigators found a vehicle allegedly involved in the drive-by, they also found a 12-gauge shotgun and phones belonging to 2 suspects. Officers then arrested Sauceda on Thursday. 20 years in prison for the man charged with the 1999 murder of his wife. That was part of Roy Hernandez's plea deal. He was arrested and charged in 2017. His wife, Deidre Salinas, disappeared in 1999, but it took investigators 6 years to find her body. But then it wasn't until 2017 that investigators had the evidence to charge Hernandez. He was expected to go to trial last year, but was diagnosed with terminal cancer, so the case had to be reset. Today, though, Hernandez accepted a 20-year plea deal on the murder charge. He has to serve half of that sentence before he's eligible for parole. It was deja vu for firefighters working at a boarded-up home this morning. Someone called 911 around 2:30 about the fire at a home on the 600 block of Torreon Street near Lanier, which is on the west side. When firefighters got there, flames were shooting from that home. It had been boarded up, so that made things difficult for fire crews to fight that fire. Eventually, though, they did put it out. Here's the thing, though. This isn't the first time they've fought a fire in that particular home. They still don't know the extent of the damage on the inside, but the good news is, despite that fire, nobody was hurt. Now we know who died in a nasty crash yesterday near I-10 and Medical Drive. He's 20-year-old Arik Arias. San Antonio police think that he was speeding when he hit a rock and then crashed into a stone fence. Look at his vehicle. He died at the scene. Now, in other news, there is a lot, so much, in fact, happening around San Antonio this weekend, so you have to be aware of road closures. Traffic Authority Steve Cavazos helps you get around.
Expect road closures to continue well into the early days of March and, of course, throughout the weekend. Let's talk about what will be taking place here along I-10 over on the east side of Bexar County. Now, bridge work will actually begin Friday, February 17th. That will take us all the way up until Saturday, February 18th. Begins at 9 in the evening and should end around 12 in the afternoon. Expect to see a full closure of the eastbound main lanes right there at File Road. Now, KSAT also reports that we will continue to see asphalt work taking place along 281 on the north side of San Antonio. That will take place Saturday, February 18th. It does begin at 9 in the morning and hopefully should wrap around 3 in the afternoon. Expect to see an alternating lane closure in both directions right there at Wilderness Oak. All right, one last jump here. Loop 410 on the west side of San Antonio. We have continued to see that utility work take place. Should wrap on Thursday, March 9th. So pack your patience. 9 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon is when that work will take place. Expect to see a single lane closure on the southbound frontage road from Marbach Road to Pilar Drive. Now, you can scan the QR code that is now on your screen. That will take you to our KSAT traffic page. Full list of closures is listed there, so plan your commute ahead of time.
So now that you have your traffic report, you're going to want the weather. Meteorologist Adam Caskey joins us now with your forecast.
A chilly first half of the weekend. I mean, check out Saturday morning, right near freezing, about 33 degrees in San Antonio. Some neighborhoods, even a brief light freeze. By the afternoon, mostly cloudy, only 58. Sunday, a little bit warmer, 45 in the morning, then 73 into the afternoon. Next week, it's back into the 80s by Tuesday and Wednesday.
In other news, law enforcement agencies across the U.S. are looking to up recruitment numbers, but they are struggling. A lot of them believe the incidents, like the case of Tyree Nichols, is really part of the problem. So departments nationwide are trying to get creative. In Los Angeles, departments are speeding up the hiring process and holding community events to recruit people. And listen to this. In Washington, D.C., they're actually offering a $20,000 signing bonus as an incentive. But the problem is that getting people in, well, that's just the first step.
Maybe we ought to think about, 10 regional academies around the country that teach, what we think professional policing should be.
Here at home, the San Antonio Police Department and the Bexar County Sheriff's Office are both hiring. You could read more about employment opportunities on each of their websites. Believe it or not, it's actually been almost a year since Russia began its invasion of Ukraine. And as we mark that milestone, a bipartisan group of 5 lawmakers sent a letter to President Biden asking him to send fighter jets to Ukraine. Officials from Ukraine saying they expect Russian combat operations to ramp up. So far, President Biden has ruled out giving Kyiv any combat aircraft. The president, though, is planning to visit Poland on Monday, and the White House says the president wants to send a message that the allies will continue to stand by Ukraine. Now, here's a warning for anybody who wants to use a dating app. Romance scammers are still going strong, and they're trying to steal not just your hearts, but also your money. And here's a twist now. Some of them are trying to use cryptocurrency. One local kindergarten teacher tells our Marilyn Moritz how she was tricked out of thousands of dollars.
It says his name is Robert.
Beth Hutchinson met her match on the Bumble dating app. After weeks of messaging and heart emojis, Robert offered to teach her to invest.
And so you showed me how to, take money from my account, turn it into Bitcoin, and then be able to start using it to trade and whatnot on the New York Stock Exchange.
Within weeks, she'd turned $6,500 into Bitcoin and invested it on a website Robert said was the New York Stock Exchange. It looked promising.
Every time I did it, I was always gaining money up to a point where it was a couple hundred at a time. I thought I was putting my money in the New York Stock Exchange.
But the warning bell sounded when Hutchinson says Robert got aggressive and threatening, so she called the real stock exchange.
And they asked, can you give us the web page you're using? And so I gave them the web address, and they said, that's not one of ours. My heart just dropped into my stomach.
It's hardly the first time an online flirt was a fake. Just last year, the Federal Trade Commission says crypto romance scammers stole more than $139 million. It's a lucrative scam that preys on emotions.
There's just a genuine fear of missing out. We don't want to miss out on the next best investment opportunity.
As for Hutchinson, she's unlikely to get her $6,000 back. She wants to warn others about sweet talkers stealing hearts and money.
And everyone's like, well, I'd be smarter than that. And it's well, most people view me as a pretty intelligent person, but it still happened to me too.
Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
You got to feel for her, yeah. In other news now, quick action by a couple of HEB partners late last month helped save the life of a 57-year-old customer who had gone into cardiac arrest. Jesse Degollado says that today he got to thank everyone who played a part, especially those HEB employees who knew exactly what to do.
A grateful Daniel Hinojosa thanked the EMTs whose job it is to save lives. They took over when 2 HEB partners left off at the Austin Highway store where Hinojosa had collapsed in the produce section.
I remember hearing just a loud crash followed by just a loud scream.
I saw him go down, and I thought he tripped, so I ran over there.
So thank you very much.
Good to finally meet you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
It's nice to meet you while I'm not on the ground.
Yes.
Hinojosa had suffered cardiac arrest and wasn't breathing, but thankfully both White and Rainey had gotten CPR training where they'd previously worked.
The CPR training just kind of kicked in. We just started administering CPR.
That's just God's will. I just blessed. Instrument, hand.
You're essentially working for the heart.
Cardiologist Dr. Jorge Alvarez treated Hinojosa when he arrived at Methodist Hospital.
So the CPR helped because it helped to maintain blood flow to his brain and to his other vital organs.
It's really not hard, but with enough practice, you can impress your friends and save a life.
It's easy, it's effective, and it's just the right thing to do. You have to apply a lot of force, probably more force than you think you have to. And if you break something, it's okay, we'll fix it.
Whatever it took, Hinojosa's wife and the daughter who was there appreciate everything that was done to save his life that day. And so does he.
Appreciation for the fact that people knew what they were doing.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
And we're so happy that he's okay. We're out of time right now. The 9 at Night returns on Monday. Have an awesome weekend. Don't forget to bundle up because it's still going to be cold. We'll see you.